G'day guys, so today we are going to be talking about the unilateral lat pulldown. Jeepers, say that 5 times, I dare ya. And in particular, we're going to be talking about the supinated grip. Now, first of all, let's talk about what supinated means. So supinated is a fancy way of saying holding the bar underneath. So we have supinated, which is like holding a bowl of soup, our hands are underneath. We have pronated, which is the opposite, so our hands are going to be over the top. A good example of a pronated exercise is potentially the traditional way someone would do a lat pull down, and that is with their hands over top pulling to their chest or behind the neck. God hope they don't pull behind the neck. Anyway. And also we have, so again, supinated, like a bowl of soup, you'd hold like this. Pronated is the opposite, and then you have neutral, you're neither one nor the other, and you're in the middle. So a good example of this is like a hammer pull down, just like this, or well, yeah, most rows are in a neutral position. So today, let's talk about the supinated unilateral lat pull down. Got it, first time. We're going to discuss firstly what you would do with your lower body first. I'll get rid of this telephone. What you're going to do with your lower body first in order to set up and what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say pronounce your chest, but that's not the right word. We're going to go into what we call thoracic extension. So it helps promote, that's it. Oh, did I say promote? That doesn't matter. Point is that a lot of people will start their lat pull down position like so. And there's nothing wrong with this. However, what we need to understand is that we are like a chain all the way running from our feet all the way up into potentially up top of our neck, right? So we're what we call or this is what we call the posterior chain. And so what we can do is by simply shifting our feet back and sliding in potentially a little lower, we start to place ourselves in a position to enhance our ability to get into scapular retraction, which is why powerlifters, when they do a bench press, place their feet so far underneath their backside and create an arch, is because they want that scapular retention in order, retraction, not retention, in order to press a little harder or activate their lats, which is what we're going to do here, is that we're going to place ourselves in this position there in order to access or activate our lats a great deal more. So first things first, we're going to drop the chair so that we can wedge ourselves right in and under. We're going to place our feet underneath our backside and we're going to wedge ourselves in. We can also create what we call leg drive. So by me simply pushing down my heels and also potentially driving my legs up, we can get a little bit more oomph when it comes to those harder reps and sets. So that's our lower body. Our upper body. We know that our lats start down nice and low and actually come up and into the front of our bicep. And why that's important is because that allows us so much range of motion, it's unbelievable. So we can come all the way up above our head, we come all the way slightly back as well. Now that plays particular importance in what it is that we're trying to achieve, because we want to reach all the way up and we want to drive these elbows pretty much back and down behind us. So if we set this up now, we place our feet underneath our backside, our shoulder blades back and down, or okay, so what we need to also understand is that when we do this exercise, the major joint that's moving is the scapula, right? Because obviously it's an arm exercise. So we need to make sure that we have a nice, steady, stable base in order to pull from. So we want to make sure that our scapula is pulling back and down. Now what you're going to notice is that when you do that, your range of motion actually probably becomes a little bit inhibited and a lack of. Because if I'm in this position, then how on earth do I go from here all the way up to there? Now this is a skill in itself, is the ability to stretch out whilst under tension. So my first bit of advice would be, firstly, before you start reaching all the way up and coming all the way down, just like you would see most bodybuilders and powerlifters do, or just anyone in the gym do. I would strongly recommend that you look for stability first, so shoulder blades back and down. Look for that tension, okay, and execute like that before you start going that full range, because a great example of this is, and you can do this at home, is your bicep, right? If you go all the way down and you let that lax, your joints and your ligaments are going to be taking all that load, and that's not what we want. We want that load to be under tension through the muscle, because the muscle will grow that way, right? So if you look for that tension and come all the way up, and then you keep that tension on and you come down to here, sure, we're not going the whole range of motion down to there, however, we still have that tension on. Now we can work with this range, and then once you get your confidence up about having the ability to keep tension through the working muscle the entire time, what you can do is you can come all the way down, out, and keep that tension on. Now that bicep's not going anywhere, and then come back up and squeeze, down, squeeze. Now that's what we're going to do here. So feet underneath our backside, we're going to grab supinated, so hands are going to come up and under, and our shoulder blades are going to come back and down. Okay, now we're locked in nice and tight. We're going to pull down, and our elbows are going to try and aim to be just past our body, so that we're getting full range and full access through the lats. So shoulder blades back and down. Bang. Right, so that's the easy part. Now this is the hard part. When you come back up, I actually want you to go to here for 5. Okay, 1, 2, and what this is doing is that we're starting to send a signal to from our brain to our lats that, hey, we need that tension. Okay, now tension's on. Now what we can do is we can come all the way up and under, and that promotes that full range of motion. However, you're not going to lose that tension. As soon as you start ending up and feeling as if your arms are coming out of its sockets, that's when you know you've lost the tension. Okay, so we want to make sure that that tension is on, and we're reaching, pulling through, tension still on, pulling through, tension still on, pulling through. You're getting a full big squeeze through these lats and taking it for its full range of motion under tension whilst in a thoracic extension position. Okay, that there, guys, is how you want to go about doing a, here we go, supinated unilateral lat pull down.